What's up, you freak bitches? Welcome to the Next Gen podcast.
Welcome to the future.
Where you get fucked in the ass.
We got Victor, Mason, and I.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Come on.
This is KB, and welcome to our podcast.
Yes, where we talk about technology, sacrifices, self-development, androids, anything in the future of technology.
Anything.
Drugs,
Next gen.
Steroids.
Weed.
We're live. Welcome back, everybody. Next Gen Podcast. This is episode 9. We are with Ardy Isma. This is a long-term friend of mine since 5th grade. We grew up together a little bit. We went our separate ways. We came back in college, and now he is honestly, he's the guru when it comes to like political advice, and like he's very into all the current events. And I kind of just want to pick his brain. But Ardy, go ahead and introduce yourself. I'll introduce KB over here. He's on the left with the beard, looking like a straight up Arab. And we got Moses right above you, at least on my screen. And he is our spirit guide. He's the guru. He's the man.
Spirit guide too. I love that. That's the best. Yeah.
But Ardy, so
you're your own guru. But
so tell me when you got interested in politics. Like, we all have our interests, whatever. Like, I watch the videos and I have my opinion, but like, you seem like you legit love it, bro. Like, you are always listening to NPR. You're always on it. Like, you want to bring, but you're quiet about it. So I kind of want to hear, just where you came
this
from.
is gonna be interesting.
Well, I don't love it. I think that's a misconception. I don't love it. I kind of like hate it. I mean. Dang.
Okay. Let's dive into this.
It's more like a guilty pleasure, if anything. It's like every day you hear something new in the news, like
Some bullshit.
something crazy happening. Like, we pulled out of a deal with Iran.
God.
People are
Just
losing
like
jobs. The country's acting like we're in a Great Depression, Part 3.
I like how you said acting, because they definitely are acting. It's freaking falling. Like,
Bunch of actors, man.
I'm not saying we're acting, but like, well, I mean, there's no one to blame but the federal government themselves right now. I mean, you have a person in office that is really breaking and destroying democracy, and is making these lies and cannot really make an educated answer at all, and just put out points to his base, which is mostly conservatives, right-wing, extremist. And he's a blatant racist, man. And if anyone that says otherwise, then you're a racist as well. I can't see how can someone like Trump, during the Charlottesville protest, right? If people can recall, there is a protest. People were protesting about police brutality, I believe so. Or, no, it was a white nationalist rally. And minorities, went to counter-protest that, and a crazy white supremacist killed a lady, like ran her over, and comes out of nowhere. Trump goes, there was good people from both sides of the aisle, meaning like you don't call the white supremacists a good guy as well, or like the white supremacist group a good amount of people, which is kind of crazy. But I can't even go.
So yeah. Let's hold on that point right there. So like, I like when people try to give, make sure they're not standing on either end. Like, they say, it's not this side that's right, it's not that side that's right. Okay, fair. Yeah. But you also need to be blatant when there's something that's wrong, and you need to point that out that that's wrong, and there's nothing that's an exception to that. So I mean, I guess in this same circumstance, he's saying, okay, both sides of the aisle have good people. Okay, anybody can fucking say that about anything, but you're ignoring the fact that it is clearly inappropriate and unacceptable to do something like that.
Well,
And like
yeah,
he's
because
not
their
making it a
actions
bad
don't.
thing.
Their actions don't demonstrate goodness.
Yeah.
At least not at that event.
And for him to say it's on both sides, it's like, no, man. Like we're talking about one specific subject. Stop trying to group this whole thing. They did right there is wrong. Just say that. Why you gotta?
Yeah, well, that's just a plastic spin.
But that little thing I just said, just a micro thing of what's wrong with Trump, to be honest with you. There's so many things. Let's look at the way he's handling the coronavirus or just his administration. He had nominated Ben Carson as the housing urban development. A medical doctor is running how urban cities should be run. That's like putting a lawyer in a surgeon room about to perform open heart surgery. Like, that doesn't make sense, right? Like, and you have, Trump is, all right. So recently, there's been videotapes, but there's been tapes of Trump talking to this author. I forgot his name, but his name is Bob Woodward. He's coming out with a book and exposing Trump. And there's these tapes where Trump is like blatantly admitting that he is lying about the coronavirus. What I mean by that is that he is not telling the truth. He's trying to calm people down, and he's not trying to express it as a serious subject on purpose. While behind closed doors, he is nervous as anyone. I mean, he's like, Bob, the kids have it too. Kids are dying from the coronavirus, but I'm not going to say that in public. I just have to calm the people down.
Why do you think he would do that?
Because he's an idiot. That's why.
Well, let's put feelings aside.
So it's to please his base, really. I mean, look what happened. Look what happened to the consequences. Obviously, Trump, behind closed doors, knows the dangers of the coronavirus. But yet he goes out in live TV and saying it's just a common flu. It's nothing to be serious about. Meaning that his own base, the Trumpers, where they're like, the coronavirus is a hoax, it's fake, it's not true, it's whatever, while people are dying. There's an estimated of 1,000. There's 1,000 deaths per day in this country because of the coronavirus. Let that sink in. Like, if that doesn't really, like,
ring a bell.
Yeah, then I don't know what is. I mean,
and my bosses, I had not experienced really anything in my life that was affected, so I was somewhat skeptical of this whole coronavirus for a while. Mainly, not skeptical as in like it's a hoax. I think I ever really fucking believed that. But it was more like, I'm young, I'll be fine. Most people that are dying are the same people that are dying of simple, influenzas or whatever when they're older anyway. But my boss, Ahmed, his dad just passed away. He made it to Egypt a day before his dad died. And his dad was just at his wedding. He's not that old. He's pretty good in health. Got sick. It took him, man, and he couldn't fight back. I mean, it's sad, bro. And so yeah.
My grandma died. So yeah.
Your grandma died?
Yeah, my grandma died. Coronavirus. Yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
KB, I see you thinking over there. What do you think about all this? Where do you sit? I feel like you lean towards Trump, right? I mean, in this situation.
Well, all right, let's go into this.
Let's do it. Wow. So Trump. What is your opinion on Trump?
So, so for a while now, I was always curious about the side of like Trump. Whenever this all started, like 2016, I was like, what if maybe the things that he does, whether not his rhetoric, like the way he talks about stuff, sure, that's all we can talk about that some later. But like, what if some of the other things that he does maybe is important that it gets done? Like when he says like I'm gonna do this and he does it, it's like, oh wow, that's pretty good. When he stopped like the World War III from happening and the North Korea, maybe that's a good thing. maybe recognizing that Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. That's a good. I was like, all right, because maybe that's a good thing. And then when it really hit to me, I was like, okay, maybe some things he does are a good thing. Is with this whole riot situation, this whole like attack about American liberties, which is why I've come to now to be like I'm a Trump like supporter. Before it wasn't like that. Before I was just like maybe this is just fun to watch and maybe Trump is good, maybe not. Who knows? But now after seeing like the riots and seeing people literally be like, if you're like pro cops or pro this or why do you like the flag, or people just burning flags and Trump being like, we have to stop this, like we have to be about like freedom of everyone and freedom of responsibility. So my thing is like everybody has their own choice in this country to do whatever is that they want to do, like the freedom to do whatever they want. If that means that they go out there without a mask and that kills them, that's their fault. That's on them. Now, if you don't want to get sick, either you stay home or you wear a mask and you take precautions. That's up to you. You do your own thing. But in this country, you're allowed to be free and do your own thing. So I don't like the idea of people taking away liberties or stuff. I like the idea of suggestions and you should do this. And for the government to be like, here, you can have a mask. I will offer it to you, but you choose to wear it or not. Now, with the way Trump handled coronavirus, I'm not an expert or anything. I have no opinion on that. I don't know. I don't know how. If you have a better way of solving this whole thing at a global scale, tell me. I don't know the answer to that, so I can't say anything about that. Do I love all the things he says? No, he's the biggest troll we've ever had. But in my eyes, he is the biggest troll against government corruption. We've never had good government. We can't say in the last 10 years the government's done everything amazing, has been there for the people all the time. Government has way too many people working in the system for it to be perfect. So I won't say that I'm like, oh my God, everything Trump does I love. But lately, everything that he seems to do, even though I won't agree he's the best leader, he could have better way. He's a great boss, you would say. He's a great person to get things done. I don't think he's very empathetic about a lot of. He could be better empathetically, but I agree that like Trump handles things in a way that's just like he has to too. Because if we want to go way back, Trump was a Democrat 10 years ago. Everybody loved Trump when he was a celebrity. Trump this, Trump that. And now all of a sudden, when he became president, nobody likes him. And it's like he hasn't changed. The way he talks, the way he does things, it's always been the same way forever. And it's just, and also some things were like, okay, he's racist, he does this and that. I don't really see that. You can change my mind about that, and we can have this whole discussion about it. But I don't really see that. That whole situation about that group where people died. That's horrible that people died. But what he was saying, and I agree, we all should be on the same page about this, is that there is good people on each side, and there's also bad people because there's extremists. So, for instance, if we want to go extremists on conservative sides, you got the KKK, you got all these like white supremacists. That's horrible. That's like going from like, okay, I'm gonna be on this side, taking it to an extreme. And we know that from all stories, all villains are people who take an ideology and just take it to the extreme. I guess that's like good villains, good people who like, I had this great idea, but then they ran with it, and it's like, all right, you went too far, we got to stop you. Same with on the left side, you go too far and you get like Antifa, and it's like, for instance, I don't think Democrats want to be known as we're the rioters and stuff. I don't. That's not them. That's another part of them that's too far. And then that's why like before he dropped out, I wanted Andrew Yang to win, because he is about, it's not left, it's not right, it's forward.
I love Andrew.
I love Andrew Yang.
I will represent that man until I die.
Yang Gang.
Better win one day.
Yeah, that's who I really wanted though, because he's
Yeah.
smart. He cared about math. He cared about moving us forward. He cared about doing things that were
And
like,
he didn't give a shit about left or right at all, bro. He was
exactly. That's what I was
none of
like.
that
That's
shit
how I
matters.
feel. I'm not left or right.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like,
you
we
can't.
should. That's why I was like, perfect. Let's get him in. And then it was like, oh, I even donated. So I was like, come on, guys, Andrew Yang. And then he had to drop out. And I was like, no. And I was like, all right, well, I guess we'll go back to a person who at least breaks the system. What I always thought of this was like, the best thing Trump is doing is just like breaking down the foundations of like the swamp, we could call it, the mess that we call Washington D.C. And then we get someone like Andrew Yang to come in and just push us forward in the right direction. It's not right, that's not left, that's forward. And I was like, perfect, this would be perfect. But now we have to wait another 4 years for that. But yeah, that's my thing. We can go into it because again, a lot of all this isn't solved in like one sentence or one statement. There's just so much to get into it, so many like situations, and there's a lot of bias with this whole thing. A lot of what you think you see or what you feel And then we
Yeah,
can go
there's
on
a lot of
about
smoke and mirrors.
there's a lot of like the whole world. Like there's so many things that we don't even know about, and to blame like this one situation to say that's the whole thing is not right. So that's why I like these
it's kind
kind
of
of
built up.
conversations. Yeah, it's like a lot of conversations to talk about like what really is happening and how can we work together, move towards the same direction. Because all we want is a better world for everybody, where nobody's just dying from stuff, nobody's slaves, nobody's depressed, nobody's this and that. We don't want that. So that's where I stand.
Nice. Did you breathe at all?
Not much. Take a breath.
I don't think so. I was so into
No, I get you,
He's
man.
very
And
passionate about it.
Yeah.
of course. No, I mean, it's a passionate subject, man. We're talking about the future of humanity, right?
Yeah, that's really my
Yeah.
thing. It's like I just want people just move forward
Yeah.
to the
man.
right direction.
Well,
How
No,
we're gonna
it-
get there, I don't know, but we'll
All right,
hopefully.
Artie, I'm gonna let you come back in a second, but I just want to say something
Okay. All right.
because I think the point that you made about extremists is pretty huge because a lot of people, if you're trying to envision an argument against the other side, you envision the worst of those people and then you
Yeah.
attack the worst of it. And instead of saying instead of at least being genuine and saying, look, I know you probably don't believe all these things that I hear that all these other people, or at least that I think all these other people believe. So it's kind of like you gotta be so empathetic, which
Mhm.
Trump sucks ass at, which is
Yeah.
okay. I mean, he does what he does. I mean, he's the president. He doesn't have to listen to anybody. But when
Does
you,
he not have to listen to anybody? Wait
I
a
mean,
second.
he really does.
So he has carte blanche to do whatever he wants? No. No,
I mean,
no
the
way.
Senate keeps him in check. There's checks and balances.
Where's
I know
checks
what you
and
mean by
balances?
You
that.
get what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the man is a
I know
billion-
you don't mean like he should, but he does like he can. Yeah.
He definitely shouldn't. He should care about the things he says and the people that he's offending and
Yeah,
and things
because
like
he's
that.
Well, if any
representing the
great
whole
leader would
nation.
listen to the people,
Yeah.
but we also have to take into account saying that like not everyone has great intentions. They might think they do, or like
Well,
for
yeah, it's
instance,
all about what
a
you
lot of what, again, that's why I mentioned like people liked him before. Like a lot of what he deals with isn't even like solving situations or problems at the moment. It's like him being defending himself from like just random attacks or random questions that are the same thing over and over again. Like for instance, at the press conference, it wasn't even Trump, but someone else, where they're asking him about how he feels about gay people like 10 years ago, and he was like, "Look, I understand this is a situation, but right now we're dealing with this. I think it was something in Europe, and it was a big deal." And he was like, "Look, these problems are problems for you guys too, but there's bigger problems too around the world. Like there's things like that we don't even know happening behind doors that probably keep countries together, keep things in line, keep people from dropping bombs, and we don't even know about that. And it's like there's a lot of things that are happening behind the scenes, and all I ever hear is like, you said this, or you did that, or you did this," and it's
I
like,
agree. I think it's very low level, but I also think that those decisions aren't really made by Trump. Trump is just a representative of America.
but that's another
No,
thing
no,
too.
no,
Yeah.
no. He makes those decisions.
Yeah.
No, you
Oh, yeah.
got that wrong. Trump makes all those decisions. Every bomb that's been placed, used by the U.S. military
Yeah, he's
to
the
other
commander-in-chief.
countries, that's the president. Now, I'm not blaming Trump because you can even say the same argument for Obama. Because even
Yeah.
when Obama administration, there was bombs being placed.
Mhm.
In every single presidential administration besides Jimmy Carter administration, America has done the most fastest shit ever outside of America, such as replacing governments from South America, giving Israeli bombs so the Israelis can use them against Egypt, and
It's all
so
strategy.
shit.
They're trying to get more power, and everybody
Yeah,
wants
of
power.
course, it's all about America imperialism throughout the world.
Right.
Well, it's all about, if you follow the dollar, it's all about trying to instill the one bank in nations, because there's certain nations that still don't have the World Bank organization.
Oh,
So-
you mean don't get funding from the World Bank or
Yeah, exactly. That aren't funded. But now, when you take away their livelihood and they got bombs dropping in their backyard, who's going to
You come,
stand up
you
and
come
say,
be the savior.
"Yeah, you come be the savior because now we need you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which,
because
yeah.
I feel like that's one of the biggest problems with North Korea, because North Korea isn't funded by the World Bank.
No, I think the United States, everyone messed up on North Korea. Everyone, like the United States, missed many opportunities. Now, the United States won't touch North Korea because you would think twice. I mean, they have the ultimate weapon I mean, if they have a nuclear weapon now, and now North Korea is non-touchable, and can you really blame North Korea? Let's look at
but the real question is, why are we fighting anyway? Like, what
Yeah,
is
why-
the really
yeah,
big
I mean,
deal?
I'd love to like get everybody on board with that, but Moses, but I don't know how to get people to just chill out, bro.
with North
I
Korea.
You
love to
can't
think
because
aliens are a part
you
of
have to
this, man.
question
I'll bring
motive.
aliens into this.
You have to question motive. Like, what is the motive of war? Who really gains from war?
Oh, America.
Okay.
The United States is the
I-
number one warlord in the whole world.
Yeah.
Like they sell weapons to
Mhm.
all Israel,
Everybody.
Saudi Arabia, fucking all of Eastern European countries who hate Russia.
Okay, so now everybody's fighting and no one's paying attention anymore. So now I can move into your backyard and really do what I really want to do. You know? Because y'all are so busy fighting one another. Now I have my own special interests of whatever that may be. We don't know. But whatever it
I have to
is,
take a pause real quick. We have a special
they're moving in on it.
guest.
There you go.
Victor! Welcome!
He's made it. Where
You
were
made it,
Where the
Victor!
fuck-
Sorry, boy. Sorry.
Where the fuck were you? Lisa, bitch.
It's not there.
No.
I'll try that.
No.
All right, so.
All right,
Arden, so-
I have to rebuttal a lot of shit KB just said because like
Wait,
I am
hold on
so-
just a sec. We're
All right.
gonna go through what KB has said.
as KB just gets
And
back.
before
on.
you say anything, I
Uh-huh.
want you to at least filter
Give some
yourself.
airtime.
Filter yourself.
No, I mean I'm going
to
to
not be biased. I do not like biased
I'm
arguments.
not being
I want-
biased.
I want
am
some
not.
general-
I am not. This
Okay,
is.
good.
I'm bringing some educated
Good. I want to learn. Teach me.
answers. All right, KB. First off, you said that you don't see reasons why Trump is not a racist. Well, just get back to 2016 when he ran his campaign. He literally said Mexicans are rapists. They're they're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime, and bring out a campaign that immigrants are out to get us, which is so not true. Then, when he got elected president, his very first executive order was to do a Muslim ban and not allow any Muslims to enter our country from certain countries. That had nothing to do with 9/11 and that had nothing to do with any terrorist act. That's kind of fucked up. You can't just say, nah, I don't think Trump's not racist. Nah, I think he is. There's no doubt. Who comes up with these?
I mean, why else would he do that?
Why would he do that?
Is there a reason? Like, why he
Unless
did the
you're
Muslim
just-
ban? What was the?
And he said Obama wasn't born in the United States. That should end the argument.
Do you guys think there's a difference between
Right there.
racism and prejudice?
I
Are they
was
the
just
same
a-
thing?
Oh my goodness, no, they're totally different because racism is a systematic oppression thing. You can be prejudiced and not be systematically oppressing someone. So there's a difference between being prejudiced and being racist. Because I can be prejudiced, but I can't be racist because I don't have the power to mass create a system that oppresses a whole generation of people or a class of people. That's what racism is. Racism is systemic oppression.
I mean,
So,
we're,
like,
we're
the
all
Holocaust
pretty
and shit.
stereotypical. We can all be stereotypical. We shouldn't be, but like, we group people by how we see a massive group of those kind of people, act, feel,
And
do,
that's-
whatever.
And that's kind of innate. Like that's we use that to survive. To like.
We're classified.
Well, that's
That's what we
stereotyping,
understand.
but that doesn't mean prejudice if you're stereotyping.
So stereotype. See,
No,
I put
so stereotype.
stereotype
Okay,
as the same.
that's different. Yes,
Yeah, that's
think-
totally different.
racism are different, but
I think
There-
stereotyping is a bit different than being prejudiced. I feel like
Yeah,
prejudice has a little bit more intent
Yeah. Okay.
with it.
it does.
I think
Yeah.
prejudice and
Any of the
racism
stereotypes.
Yeah.
They
Being like
do link.
negatively stereotypical.
What were you saying?
Yeah, I'd say because that has like the intent of being like negative towards them.
Yeah,
Like,
you're not being like it's not just like a general stereotype. Like you're being
Yeah.
negative about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he was saying that racism and prejudice. Well, finish that
so
thought.
yeah. So I believe that prejudice and racism, or being prejudiced and being racist, I feel like they do fall into the same category as both of the. If you look at the definitions of the two terms, they're both are categorizing people,
Mm-hmm.
putting
But one
them
is a
into
system of oppression. Like racism is a system of oppression. Because if you look back, they created laws. If you even just look back at the U.S. history,
Jim Crow laws,
Jim
right?
Crow laws, they created voting laws, they created things that necessarily limit you through a system. I can have prejudice and say, oh, I don't like people who look like KB, but I'm not creating a system that oppresses them. They are cousins, they're relatives. I think it takes being prejudiced to move into being a racist, creating a system and supporting that system.
I'm not racist. I have a black friend.
Yeah,
No one here is racist, okay?
that's the number one thing I hear all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm not racist. I have a black friend.
Yeah, but then you support a
Is,
system. Then you support a system that oppresses that black friend.
Good. He's on the west side.
I hang out with minorities.
It's not being racist.
I'm not racist. All right. Oh, God.
You were talking
Just
about
start over.
Yeah,
Just start
capitalism.
over.
I want to hear.
Okay, so your previous argument. All right, let me make it better. Let me make it better. So your previous argument was basically talking about how bad. Like, okay, first you try to say there was somewhat of a good intentions in the Vietnam War. Historians, everyone that has any capability of talking about history can easily agree that the Vietnam War was the pointless war in U.S. history where there was no point that we even had a draft that people sacrificed and died for no reason. There was no reason why the United States was involved in Vietnam. Clearly, look at it now, right? So, for instance, Vietnam won the war, and look at Vietnam now. Is there some spread of communism? No. So, like, I don't understand the argument here of the good intentions. That there was no good intentions of anyone that had good intentions in the Vietnam War. Was just it's just the United States trying, fight with a big stick and be imperial around the world and be the number one country, which was not the case at the time. And second of all, you also said that like communism, how it's bad for people and how it killed many people and such, and disregard everything about what the society that we live in, which is we live in a capitalist society where in order for a capitalist society to work, you need a poor class, there's homelessness, people are dying from health reasons, not having proper care, and all of that. You don't have to tell me, KB. I know you're totally against socialist ideas like Bernie Sanders. Like I can already tell.
You know me so well.
No, you don't have to
so
answer
well.
that.
was ridiculous.
You don't have to answer that. But I just want you to think about the next time where you see families are going into bankruptcy or are filing for bankruptcy because they can't file because they can't pay for medical bills. Medical bills that if they were in the other side, the north of the border in Canada, they didn't have to matter because their medical bills will be paid for by the government. I believe in all healthcare for all. Now anyone can disagree with me, but for God damn it, you know how much it costs for insulin in this country?
It's very expensive. I have a diabetic nephew.
$2 grand. Do you know how much it costs in Canada? $25. Now, mind you, if that's not some capitalist shit, then
It is.
someone has to.
Yeah. So, but I do want to ask, how do you feel about Trump defunding the big pharma and trying to make all that
He
go down?
hasn't defunded big
I
pharma.
understand, but he's trying. Like
He
again,
did not try.
big pharma. If we want to do anything, big pharma is more powerful than anything. Like that's
You're right. You're right.
they're fucking doing their thing. I think it's worse than anything else in the world. The idea of like people being fed pills instead of like actually understanding why you're sick and what like most people are just given pills instead of saying how can we fix you, how can we nurture you, how can we make you better. Like Moses, like we like talk about the idea that like there's a lot of the stuff you can fix within yourself. There's a lot of stuff that Wim Hof talks about where it's like, look, if you can really become like one with your mind, your body, and your like, you can avoid sickness, avoid all these things. So I think big pharma is something that we should all like fucking destroy. And I do agree, like everything should be cheaper for people, and that's a problem. And that's a bad side, like part of capitalism. But also good things about it. And I think in the long run, if we're gonna put pros and cons, I do believe that capitalism is better than all the other things, and it works, and it doesn't kill as many people that communism has over the years.
Well, I also like to make a fact that people believe that communism is the reason why the Soviet Union failed. I think people need to get more educated on the subject. The Soviet Union did not fail because of communism. The Soviet Union failed because of corruption within the government. Like Gorbachev, the leader of the Soviet Union, had problems with the Russian president, Boris Yeltsin, and they had some conflicts. They wanted to do independence, and it was a whole bunch of corruption crap.
Yeah.
But it had nothing to do with communism. If communism would have still ran pretty well if there was no corruption.
Which is everybody has an ability to be corrupt, and everybody has the ability to be good. The question is, what are you going to do in the moment? And if we look at all of human society, most people, like human history actually, most people choose, like kings choose the power of killing people. Just like, I don't like you, I'm going to kill you. People choose the idea of like, oh, well, like, let me like lie and get this motive so that like someone else is screwed. Like I've seen from people more bad than good, yet I still believe that people can be good. Even in myself, I've done things where it's like I did that for my own gain, no one else's. Like, and I believe
Humans
that we can beat that if we can somehow move as a group, a collective, to go towards a direction where we can all be like genuinely good, and which I think we're better off doing we were 100 years ago. But we still have so much to do. I do believe that. I do believe that we have a lot to work on. But we can't do that by attacking one specific group or this other group. Like
I agree.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that, man.
I think we have a bigger issue in this country, which is not. I think in America we do have a problem, and we always talk about racists, and we gotta fix equality for racists and shit. Which I totally agree. We are far from everyone being equal, but I feel like there's a bigger picture to it all, and I do believe that we have a social class issue, which means that like it doesn't matter if you're poor and living in the West Side on 103rd in Jacksonville, living dirt.
Used to live there.
Hey,
hey, my boy.
Versus if you live in Clay County in Keystone Heights, where it's like dirt, white trash, I may say. It's kind of, there's no really difference between the two. They're both poor. They both don't have better educational opportunities coming from those areas. You have a hard chance of coming out and being successful and having a, 6-figure job. We can do the comparisons. I feel like obviously we need to have a stability where we need to uplift the lower class. Obviously, the lower class, and end it.
I think that would do a lot of good for people, at least good for America, to bring the lower class higher up. At least give them a boost, do something, because they're not going to catch up on their own. It's just not. It doesn't make any sense.
It's impossible. I hate it when people say like, "Oh, they're poor because it's their fault." No, it's not the case. Imagine you grew up in, I don't know, give me a bad neighborhood.
Myrtle Street.
Myrtle Street. Okay, fine. So
McDuck.
let's say you were born in Myrtle Street.
Myrtle Street, I guess. Shit, you know.
All right, so let's say you were born in Myrtle Street,
Shot down. Shit.
and then you lived there up until you were middle school. Your mom and dad are struggling. Your dad got shot, or your mom died, or whatever. And now you dropped out of school because you have to support yourself and your parent. Then you've been working to support yourself, and you never really catch a break to ever succeed in life. And because we have college is expensive, we all are probably suffering from some student loan one way or the other. You know, it's not cheap to go.
Nothing's cheap, man.
I feel like what it is like their environment, like, and it's hard to get out of that environment. Like, let's say they try to pick up a job like at McDonald's, and you know that job barely pays, so it's like.
That's why I believe in the $15 minimum wage. No, I'm joking, but like.
They'd have to work their ass off to like cover rent for like a small place,
right?
Or like room with someone, but they'd have to like know people who do have a home, which is, you know, would be hard on their part, considering their network.
Right. And I think when people say, you know, you make the wrong decisions, you can make better decisions and get out of it. Not that you can't, but that it's so much harder to make those right decisions when all you see is wrong decisions around you. So it's like, for somebody to teach you the right decisions when nobody's teaching you, like the internet's helpful now because at least people are out there speaking about it, and you can maybe get inspired, and maybe you turn away from all the drugs and the crime and the bullshit that you deal with, and you take on a fat student loan debt and get a great job and eventually get out. But it's just not pleasant. Nobody really wants to do that. So like, you might as well give at least a nicer, clear pathway to get out of that and make, you know, imagine if the billionaires all turned around and said, all right, I'm going to give $1 billion to communities to bring them up to speed. And everybody did that, and then we all got up to speed, and then those billionaires are going to get their money back anyway. So,
Mason, you know it only costs $20 million to end poverty in the United States?
20 million?
Maybe is either 20 billion or 20 million. Either or.
Like billion, probably.
Okay.
Probably 20 billion.
It's very cheap. That is very cheap for the United States.
Yeah, compared to what they spend on everything.
It's honestly super cheap.
Right? Yeah, like we. All right,
super cheap.
Perspective.
Like one person makes like.
Billionaires.
That's what I like.
I feel like you can give a man a fish, or you can teach a man to fish. You know, so like you give these people aid and help, but if you don't empower them, they'll keep repeating the same system, and somehow they will get right back into their poverty mindset. So if you're gonna implement some type of change, you have to change it at the mental level too, and the emotional level as a whole.
You also
money's not gonna solve it.
Me and Mason were just
but it helps.
Me and Mason were just talking about Jeff Bezos and like.
Motherfucker.
How he owns billions. But the thing is, like, he does provide people with jobs. So it's like, it's insane. Like, he's opened so many different warehouses and hired like thousands, probably.
Yeah, but he only pays people like $17.
He's doing amazing things. I'm sure he will turn around and hopefully give that money back. Kind of like
Listen.
Yeah, I would agree.
What's weird is that millionaires and like billionaires, they do have donation places that they donate to, like charities and stuff. Like it's very common for them too. But it's like,
if I was as rich as Jeff Bezos, I would probably try to end world poverty, or at least in this country.
I would have my own programs. Amazon.
So that's how they.
What is
their
people the empathy programs. What did you say, KB?
What is Jeff Bezos' thing? Is he trying to do anything like huge? Just throw in Amazon.
Like, it's a good incentive.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
Wait. What's going on?
I guess it all depends on the cause.
See, but you guys are like having this side banter.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Bring in the combo here.
Yeah. Billionaires and like millionaires go give to charity, and how charity.
Yeah, you sound like Bernie Sanders right there.
Something, but it's a tax.
Yeah, that was like my other point I was gonna bring up, like how they write off so much like tax money Like how do they do that? And the average person doesn't know how to do that, and that's how they get.
Well, I want people to put this in perspective. In America, billionaires pay less taxes than a person from Walmart.
But honestly, I mean, a lot of that's just not knowing taxes a lot. Like,
no, come on, man, that's bullshit.
That's not knowing the way around.
No, that's knowing who to pay off.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff. You would write off stuff. Like I could go all these trips I go on. I can write them off as business trips now because I work for this company online. But like I just didn't know that.
Yeah,
I don't know how to do that. Like,
Yeah,
but like there's things you can learn. You can do them. I didn't know. I'm just saying. You can't.
KB.
I mean, KB's kind of right though.
No, you can't write them off.
No,
It's
you
not
can't.
like no one like.
Well, first
learns
off, that's
this
a
shit.
crime right there in the IRS.
Well, if you're
You
doing
can't just write
business-
that shit off.
If you're doing business on the trip, like
Yeah. You. There's ways to like.
if you're
make
working,
less
There's
or
ways
have taxes
around
paid for you. I never learned that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's like not all
Especially
these people
considering-
learn. I think we just need to reform education. Education needs to be way better, and we need to give everybody $1,000 a month, like Andrew Yang, and then maybe like every year you can like
No, we
register for like
need.
an educational thing, and then they'll pay for it. They'll be like, oh,
we need a whole upheaval. Like,
yeah, we
just
need like I need to
rewrite the whole thing.
I
whole
think
thing.
education should be for free. In my eyes, I think so. I think, or at least has to
The
be
only problem I have with that is you're paying a teacher.
I think it can be overpriced. Yeah.
It's way too overpriced.
I feel like some people should be paid to teach and like put time in to teach.
Let's put this into perspective. Mason, I tell you, I go to Georgetown, right? I tell you my like prices for a class, right? So I'm paying tuition right now.
It's expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive as fuck.
So for 2 classes I'm taking, 2 classes, fucking expensive, dog. I'm not even at the school. I'm taking the classes through Zoom. Like this bullshit.
That's
They're
hard to
destroying
do that.
you, bro.
I'm like, everybody's paying the regular price for online course. Like, courses go for like $200. Like, you're getting, oh my god, it's so horrible. I'm like, you guys are getting screwed.
Yeah.
God, colleges need to be destroyed and rebuilt.
Everything needs to be
Honestly-
destroyed and rebuilt.
And in
I
school,
don't
you're
really
taught
like
to be
physics.
just a
I'm not
cog in the
I
whole
like-
machine.
Yeah. Well, it's like
The system
Sisyphus,
behind it, not
the
the
Greek
actual-
guy pushing the boulder up the hill. That's what college was to me. Like, it was like Sisyphus pushing that boulder up the hill, and then when you graduate, you just push it up again because they're telling you what you just did isn't enough. You need more hours of experience, and you need this, that, and another. So it's like, so what did you just spend 4 years of your life for? And you're in 20,000 plus debt.
For Moses?
Yeah, to pay
Oh,
the debt back.
I went to school for cellular molecular processes. I'm using mine, but
See?
Don't get me wrong. Honestly, I think schools teach you a lot.
yeah, they do.
No, they do. They do.
But it's just
like,
you're paying for it out the ass, and you're gonna be
Yeah.
stuck with those chains on your wrists for a
Yeah.
while until you give the money back to pay all those professors.
student
cheap
loan
money.
debt is horrible, dude. It just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. Even before you get out of school, if you get a certain type of loan, and then you can't fucking bankrupt from that. Like that's horrible. I hate that from
But
everyone.
it's-
Everybody has to deal with
Ruin
that.
your
But
life.
you know, like everything in our economy kind of works in like arbitrage. So the people who like run the schools are a little bit greedy because they're probably getting like a huge cut.
Mhm.
Dude, the
So,
president,
everybody's
the
like,
professors aren't even
president of my university
They raised the
made
price.
$1.8 million a year. That should tell you something.
That's a problem.
It is a problem.
Yeah,
The fact that people can make so much money is a problem in a
for
way.
education. That's why it's about the dollar. That's why if you can donate $10 million to a college just to get your name on the building, like what does that tell you?
That's a good point, man. Look, I'm not
Status and
and I'm
money.
not, like,
Yeah,
people
it's
earn
it's
that
the
money.
class system. That's what
Yeah.
he said it already. It's all about
People want that shit. And
yeah. Well, it's about notoriety, like yeah. But when you start to switch from, I feel like you start to switch from what I can get to what I can give. That's when the world will really change.
we
Like
need
Yeah.
all CEOs to be Gary Vee.
Someone's like, not a go-getter, a go-giver.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because when you give generously,
We need more
it's still
go-givers.
kind of like, we do. We
That should
need.
have been the end quote.
I feel like Tesla was one of the go-givers, and a lot of people stole his ideas. Tesla, yes. Tesla was a giver. He dedicated his whole life.
Actually,
mean-
Nikola Tesla, not the
Nikola
car-
Tesla. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good. I thought you were about to say Elon
No,
Musk. I was like,
Not Elon. No, he's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the genius behind where he get all the information.
yeah. I get it.
Tesla was trying to make he was trying to make electricity free using magnetic resonance. But they came in and they was like, hell no, we wouldn't make money off of this, and so that's why they switched it all up.
And that's where capitalism comes.
A point to that though. He wanted to make electricity free through magnetism.
Yeah.
But that would also shoot magnetic waves in the air everywhere, and we could never have like integrated circuits and things that are really small and electrical because they would just bridge the gaps and it'd all be charged.
But I'm sure there's another way around that. Tap into that infinite bank account.
Maybe.
There would be
Maybe.
a way
It's
around
possible.
that. We just haven't.
But if it was such a good idea, we would have done it by now.
No, you said if you would have thought about it by now. That's such a way to say things, but that's not true.
No, because we know how to do it way better now. If it made sense, we would do it.
You wouldn't search for it if you didn't.
Listen, it's a great idea from someone who just invented whatever he invented that was pretty new. What did he do again? He built.
Dude, he did the radio too. How do you think you got radio? That
Right,
wasn't Mac.
So this man was just experiencing waves and radio waves. He didn't know what any part of electrons were, how they worked. He just was learning about waves and wanted to shoot them across everywhere to power everything.
Waves
So
are
it sounds like a great idea.
everywhere. Right now, you're receiving
Okay.
a wave. It's already happening. What do you mean? It's already happening. How do you think cell phones work?
Okay. But
How do
they're
you
not-
think cell
it's
phones
not,
work?
it's not magnetic waves. Magnetic waves induce electricity when you move.
But still, okay. But you can create a way to not have the magnetic waves.
Not if it's a magnetic wave.
It doesn't have to shoot
Okay,
across.
yes.
All right.
That's what you're saying.
Hold on.
Alright,
Okay.
What if
Wait,
you,
wait.
what
No.
if you built a grid in the
Hey,
ground?
Moses,
Wait,
podcast number 10. Podcast number 10.
What if you built a grid in the ground? But we won't get there.
I just want to know, Moses, is your argument? Are you trying to say that electricity should be for free? Is that your argument?
No, that's not my argument.
He was
at
just
all.
making a point.
I was making a point, but
And I
we
still
kinda
with
got
your
off on a
point.
tangent.
I was just debating the Tesla topic.
Yeah, he was debating on if it was possible, and that's what we got
it's
off on
possible.
a tangent.
I do know
It's possible.
It's
But it would have
definitely
ruined everything in our
But at
microelectronics.
the time, we
Or-
weren't there yet. We didn't even have computers. So you saying ruin, we could have went a whole different way with things.
That's true. We
I
would have
guess
found
that's true.
alternatives.
Yeah.
So you got to
Alright.
think about back. You're thinking right now where we are, but back in early hundreds, we didn't have all of this. So it would have been a whole different development. We would have been a different way.
Yeah, it could have been a whole different world.
Possibly.
Yeah, a whole new world. All right, I'm sorry. But yeah, but
Okay, so I think
back to where we were.
I think Trump is a very debatable guy. You can see his good, and you can see all of his bullshit that he does as well.
Yeah, it does. It does do a lot of bull.
Now, and yes, you can have your side and your opinion about the guy, but in the end, I think Andrew Yang ties us all together.
Yes.
Just the concept, right? So I'm not even talking about just him, but like the concept of fuck all the left and the right bullshit. Let's do what's best for people and move forward.
I would
And
love
really
for
good
us not to
forward.
have.
Agree to disagree. You know what I mean?
Wait, I just want to know, what's your guys' opinions of Bernie Sanders? I like him.
I like Bernie. I think he's an extreme, just like Trump is, but he's not. He's much more for helping more people. To be honest, I don't think Trump wants to help as many people as he says he does.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with the whole socialist type of nation, but I do agree with uplifting everyone else. But I think at a certain point, if you're always trying to help, someone will need help. But if you empower them, they can assist themselves. I'm a firm believer in that. So I do believe in empowering other people, but it depends where you go with how the social is.
You can't go and lift them up here physically. You gotta help them lift themselves up.
You can lead them to the water.
Yeah, but you can't make them drink. That's so true too. Yeah, but I feel like it's better to teach a man to fish instead of just bringing him fish every day. Like, I'd rather show you how to do it.
I'd love that. Here you go, boy.
Yeah, exactly. You'll love to not work, but how have you grown as an individual then? What experience will you ever have if someone's always doing something for you? You will become stagnant.
That's the fight for money, man. Fight for money is trying to become the king.
I don't want the money. I want to be able to try to give as much as I can possible.
Yes,
not just materially, but there's so many ways you could share the talents and gifts and things that you have. You just gotta want to.
So easy to say though.
So easy to say.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I'm practicing it, so every day I try to practice. So it's all about the moment.
Yeah, it really is about the moment, though.
Yeah, it's right now. That's all you got.
I don't know, guys.
What's on your mind?
Well, how do you feel? Because when I said something about the socialist thing, I saw a little like ding.
I just think you guys are so stuck up on the socialist thing. It's like, oh, Bernie Sanders, he's a socialist. Like,
can you give me the definition of socialism?
Hey, Alexa. And I can tell you this. I think people, when they hear the word socialism, what's the number one thing you think of? You think of Nazi Germany, Adolf Hitler. Okay, let's be honest here. Hitler preached fascism. He did not preach.
Yeah, he was not a socialist.
That is not socialist. Nowhere near it. Socialism is basically the government, our federal government. It's a branch of communism, I would say, where the government would be the provider of giving you social benefits such as free healthcare, or down call it free education,
kind of like basic human needs.
Well, shouldn't the government?
Everyone has a fair shake. Everyone gets a fair shake.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now, are there millionaires or billionaires in a socialist government? Can you still make more money than somebody else?
That's a good question. Well, it's not supposed to work that way. No. I take that back. Yes, you can. Of course you can. I mean, anyone can be rich in any form of government. Let's be honest here. But I feel like being rich in a capitalist society, you do have way more benefits, and you pay less taxes, and you're not only when you pay less taxes, you just get, you may not have the social benefits, but you can afford a lot of things. You could do a lot more things. But for every rich person in America, 10 poor people. For every rich billionaire, there's probably 100 poor people. So put that to perspective. For every rich person in a socialist country, there's not the whole. This is very complicated.
So what happens with millionaires and socialists? Do they just give a lot more back to the government?
They do, yeah, and they pay their fair share of taxes, as every millionaire should and billionaire.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think.
Well, yeah, if there's a tax system, it should be based on someone's income, and if your income is this specific, digit, then you should pay based on that digit. Simple as that. It should be a universal system. It shouldn't have no fluctuations in it.
Wait, what's KB? KB's like chilling. What's he gotta say?
Hey. So
how do you feel about the rich? How do you feel about the rich?
Explain to me what happened with Venezuela.
Venezuela.
Venezuela is the socialist country, and it's the most it's destroyed. Everybody to buy bread, it costs called a wheelbarrow of money.
But that was corruption, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
I don't know, Venezuela.
It used to be a fucking great country. They decided to try socialism, and now it's one of the worst countries to live in.
But I feel like it was still based because of their government handled it poorly. But
Well, if they had
how do you not know that can't happen?
I think it's because what happened in Venezuela is I think it's still in fault with the United States. I mean, the United States put an embargo in Venezuela just like they did with Cuba, and they're not getting the right foods, and you see all those empty shelves whenever you see in Venezuela. Everyone thinks, oh, it's the government's fault. No, it's not. Blame America. They have an embargo. There's ships blocking shipment going to Venezuela.
exactly, correct.
Yeah, but
Corruption.
as I wouldn't blame someone else for my problems in my life, I don't think a country itself should ever be like we're like this because of some other country.
No, but KB, you have to understand there's a cause to every effect. And if we are participating in the world society as global leaders, as a country, we shouldn't be limiting the livelihood of another country that has to take care of their citizens. So it would be the responsibility if you are intentionally making a decision that would impoverish another country. Don't you think that you should be responsible for that decision you made?
Yeah.
There you go. Now, KB, now get rid of the fucking conservative shit mindset now, and embrace the progressive side.
Become a communist, bro.
No, don't.
I'll never do.
I do think there is a level of responsibility that each individual should have about providing for himself, but like you said, the playing field should be even. If the playing field is even and you go out and you're doing great, then you're doing great. But if there are variables in this field of life that we have that aren't the same for another person based on their class or their phenotype, how they look, then that's not a fair system. So the system needs to be reworked.
Well, it's like a video game. Like, if everyone started at the same level with the same guns and the same everything, whoever leveled up the fastest and got to the top still wins. They still have the most coins or whatever.
Yeah.
But if everyone started at different levels.
That's a great example because also
not everyone you get different
starts
achievements.
At 0 at the same time.
Yeah.
So you might start at 0 and there might be level 100 and you lose to that person because you're not yet. The thing that we have to understand too is that life isn't fair, and it's hard to make it fair for everyone. We could try, but there's so many circumstances, different environments, different variables.
But we can try, like you said.
We can try. I think that's what we're doing right now, and I think that's what capitalist societies, at least ours, is trying to do. It's trying to be. You can have the freedom to grow and grow your wealth, do your things. But it's also at least as fair as it can be to other people to do the same. But, someone started level 100 and now their kids have the money and this have the money and the money just continues to go down. And it's like, all right.
It's like having a friend.
The rich get richer.
It's like having a friend who is in a higher level.
Get richer, but they also stay poor.
Just like takes you to the higher levels.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's really hard. This is a complicated issue. And I mean, we could have debates this forever, but I want us to move forward in the direction where we can make it a little bit more fair for people, but also keep the freedom of you can make as much money as you want. You can do whatever you want with that money. Like if you, for instance, let's take Mr. Beast. That guy has, for some reason, millions and millions of dollars, and all he does is gives it to people. But he had the choice to do whatever he want with that money. We just need to, I guess, make it a thing in our culture to give back more.
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like I said,
it's not necessarily capitalism's fault.
Yeah.
It is capitalism.
Yeah, it's self-interest's fault. That part of capitalism, only trying to look at.
It's also
competitiveness. Capitalism also breeds do better than the guy next to you.
Okay, yeah, but you don't. But that's scarcity mindset, and that's not true. I don't believe it's true.
Yeah, but that doing as good or better than your person next to you doesn't have to mean you have to destroy their building. Doesn't mean you have to you guys can both build the biggest building. This is a Gary Vee thing. You both have your business and grow it together. Especially with the internet, you can have And also, wealth doesn't have to be millions of dollars. Wealth could be $100,000 a year and you're set. It doesn't have to be this whole $1 million. I got $1 billion. I want to build a large company.
Exactly. You're right on that.
If you're doing something that satisfies you, I think that's really true success. Because a lot of people are making big money, but they're dreading to go to work every day. Yeah. You call that success? You're like, oh, I gotta go to work. That's not.
Those success. Are not the people that are gonna give back either.
No, they're not. Because they're gonna be like, I work too hard for this money. I sacrifice my own happiness for this money. You know.
Well, let's kind of be honest with you. You never go to a little restaurant or some fast food place and ask, we like to donate to such and such. Do you give them the money, or do you say no?
Actually, I used to.
Bro.
I didn't
he was on the. Ardy's calling me out. He was on the phone with me when I went to Panic and asked for and I said no.
But I used to, but then I started to think like, will I ever know where this money goes?
Yeah, exactly.
I would like to know what they do with it. That's my whole thing about that. But if I give to a particular organization, I give because I know that they're making some type of they're achieving some type of result in the lives of people who need it.
Yeah.
Yo, a business idea. What if we made a business where we track the people's money who donate and then tell them where it's at?
So like how you gonna make money?
You do that like an app. Like you use the app.
Like you donate and then it just shows you like the pipeline of where your money has gone and where it's like at currently.
No, that'd be great.
That'd be pretty sweet.
They already have half your information anyway.
Yeah.
And then they'll send you like a picture of a video of or something.
Alright.
But yeah.
Okay, so let's wrap this up, guys.
Alright.
Any final points anybody wants to clarify? Make sure that nobody took it the wrong way.
I just want to, alright, the next podcast that I'm in with you guys that we talk about politics, I did not establish a reason why we have Trump in office. And I don't believe every Trump supporter is a bad person. I think we have a political problem in this country where we only have a two-party system. And we hate. Let's be honest here. We did not like Hillary Clinton because she's a woman. Sure, some people did not like her because of a woman, but I hate her policies. All right.
That's not why I didn't like her. I didn't like her for a whole nother reason.
More reasons other than
that. I didn't like what an organization
we can all agree,
was doing in Haiti that she sponsored.
Haiti, yep.
How y'all just gonna take kids that have parents? Yeah. Like, no. See, that sounds like organ trafficking to me, but I'm gonna leave it right there because we need more.
We're going to conspiracy theories.
Yeah, we're going a little far off, but there's not enough empirical evidence. But I mean, if it looked like a cat and it walked like a cat, it's gonna be a cat. But I'm just gonna leave it right there. But that was my own thing. It was just it was like the vibe just didn't fit for me. And then
character is important.
Yeah, her character was just like, I don't know. It's just I was like, I'm picking between the lesser of two evils right now.
That's literally how everyone felt. It was like these guys suck. It's just like this year. I mean, Joe Biden is demented. Or he has dementia, however you want to call it.
Oh my god,
he's lost.
I have a picture with Joe Biden in my.
And he's funded by a bunch of lobbyists. So it's either choose him or choose Trump, who's fucking crazy, man. Like you never know what he's gonna do, and he doesn't really care about bringing people together all that much.
Yeah.
So it's like, fuck, man. What do we do?
My thing is when you start to have to use celebrities to like prop you up, that kind of says a lot about what you're trying to do to the minds of society. You're using people that society puts on a pedestal to say, okay, if these people go with me, then hey, you should go with me too, type thing. Like,
what does it show to this country? Like, people do not care about celebrities anymore. In 2016, Hillary Clinton had every single celebrity besides Jesus Christ himself. Still lost the election. She had Beyonce.
Well, she had that popular vote. Right. But they always do that. The Democrats always have like every celebrity. That's why I'm feeling a little weird about the whole thing because I'm just like, why Is it?
Why, right?
Both sides have gotten so convoluted. It's like they're just so deep in their
Just
own.
throw it away. I saw
Right.
this meme.
Mm-hmm.
And it was of a trash can of recycling, right? And you know how they say plastic on end and paper on the other end? But the trash can was going into the same bin. So it wasn't really dividing the plastic and the paper. And I was like, huh. And they was like, this is the two-party state of the U.S.
Yeah, we vote and pretend like we're making.
Yeah, but it's like two heads of the same snake.
Yeah.
So, all right, so cast your votes. Cast your votes. Who's going to win this year?
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I would love to say Joe Biden. I'm only voting for Joe Biden because I have no choice. But it's not like giving a choice here.
I feel like you don't have a choice regardless, like, at this point. I feel like everyone should just be like, hey, we should write in someone else's name. And let's test them on the fact if the American public really has the right to choose who they can elect. Like, I wish that someone should start that. Like, let's write in someone else's name. Like, one person who we think should be the president.
Brett Weinstein has it's called Unity 2020. And he thinks that it'd be better, at least now, if we nominated a Republican, like a center left and a center right nominee, and they both are president / not, they're just dual presidents.
So they're co-presidents.
If they disagree, one has the final say for 2 years, and then they swap, and then the other has the final say for 2 years.
Wow.
I don't know how I feel about it, but it's like, at least there's a little bit more. Nah, that's just probably more corrupt, bro. I don't even know.
Yeah,
because all they're gonna do is go back in and redo what the other one just did the 2 years before. Like,
well, that's why they're meant to be more central and progressive, so like they kind of agree on topics.
Yeah.
But
I think, yeah. Okay, so how do you guys feel about Kamala? Kamala? I don't know.
Oh, Kamala Harris or whatever.
Is it Camilla or Kamala? Y'all help me. Camilla. Okay, I didn't know if it was an A or an I.
Camilla? I don't know.
I don't really. My thing is, I have a problem against like prison reform. Like, I don't think it's a fair system if you can be so biased where you send one person for the same crime, but you can choose that, hey, we're gonna give this person this sentence and this person 20 years, but we just gave him 6 months and he just did the same thing. Like, I feel like, but a lot of things that she did in the state of California for the prison system, it just didn't sit well with me. That's why I don't know who I would vote for. I'm just gonna.
Well, don't vote for Trump, Moses.
I'm not voting for Trump either.
Vote for Rick James. Rick James 2020.
I'm gonna put my own name on that. I'm voting for Moses. Literally, that's what I did.
Yeah, vote for
I'm putting my name on the ballot.
Hey, I remember 2016 election was so bad. 2,000 votes went to Harambe. Remember Harambe? 2,000 write-in votes for Harambe. This is how bad our political system is. Like, we're voting for a dead gorilla.
It's epic.
That's hilarious.
Long live Harambe.